Hey everybody, we're at LMS Builds Site B, aka my messy garage. I don't quite have the setup that Dwayne does, but I'm working on a new project that I thought you guys might be interested in. So here it is. I decided that I was going to build myself an aluminum LS3. I already tore down the block. We're not going to do the full build every nut and bolt like we did for Dwayne's mod motor, because the bottom end is very, very similar with an LS to a mod motor. We will be going more into detail on the valve train, but I kind of wanted to show you guys a little bit what I'm working on and why I'm doing it. So it's an aluminum block LS. It's a 6.2. Starter life is an L92. It's going to be something more akin to an LS3 whenever it's done. And you know, the Monte, it already has an LS motor in it. It's a 6-liter. But it's an old truck motor. You know, I want something reliable, something that's lighter. So I bought a used L92 that was in great shape and tore it down, sent it off to Livernois. They decked it, boarded out, align honed it. Really did a good job on the machine work. You can see that they actually went as far as to deburr the entire block for me. That's not just so you don't cut yourself, that's also for strength. It really helps make sure the cracks don't propagate. Not that we're really going to be pushing the limits of the power with this block. The purpose of this build is not to make it an all-out NA, you know, crazy LS motor. The cam is just not spec'd that way. The heads are not spec'd that way. The purpose for this is to be dead nuts reliable for autocross and road racing. And to save, you know, 70 pounds off the front nose of the car, which will really help the handling of the vehicle. So I already got the crank in. The crank spins like butter beautifully. We're going king bearings throughout except for the cam bearings, which are Durabond. You know, they did some little nice touches. They welded the reluctor wheel onto the crank because when road racing or autocross, you're going to change direction. You're going to change the speed of your engine very quickly. And sometimes the reluctors will spin. Now I'm on to filing piston rings, which is everyone's favorite job, so I'm actually going to skip that as far as the video goes. Maybe just a couple little pointers, because you've already seen kind of the bottom end build on Dwayne's motor. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get to it, get the bottom end together real quick. And then the top end is kind of where we're going to do some interesting stuff, so we'll show you what we're doing there. Alright, so I'm done filing rings, and I actually skipped ahead a little bit because really no one really cares about short block assembly. It's pretty much the same for any engine. So you can see here that all of the holes are full. I put the valley cover on, front cover. Next up would be the heads. I did put the cam lifters and lifter trays in. These are some nice Johnson lifters. Should really help high RPM valve control, which can be an issue on LS motors. So anyways, we're gonna grab the heads here in just a second and toss those on. Well guys, the motor's all together. Got everything put on there, everything torqued to spec. Got a cool underdrive dampener for it. I just said the thing that bothers me the most. I said dampener. This is just a damper, not a dampener. It doesn't make anything wet. One of my all-time pet peeves, and I just said it. Reconditioned LS3 heads. I still need bolts for the water crossover. This is a really cool Ilmor Marine intake, which I think is going to make some good power on this motor. I still need to swap over the oil pan with the pan that's in the car. And I already have the car up in the air. I'm going to start disconnecting the stuff underneath it right now. So the exhaust, drive shaft, get all that stuff out of the way. And then from there, you know, we'll drain the radiator, get the radiator out of there, front accessories, intake, all that stuff so that we can pull the motor. Fun stuff. Alright guys, made some pretty good progress today. Got the headers out, got the exhaust off, the intake off. all the harness stuff out of the way. Alternator and power steering pump brackets off into the side. Not so easy without a lift getting up and down, but got it done. Next, I'm going to need some help to get this hood, which is the world's largest hood, off. And then we should be ready to start pulling the motor. I undid the trans mount, so the trans should slide forward. But I've had it for the night. I am filthy, and I'm ready for a beer. Alright, now as you can see, got the radiator out. All the heater lines are disconnected. 2 motor mount bolts and maybe the trans cross member. I'm not sure if we'll need to take that out or not. And then this motor can come out. So I got to take the hood off to do that too. So I need some help with that. I've just kind of been every day after work messing with this, doing a little bit more. That's really what I recommend you guys do. Is, you know, you'd really be surprised what an hour or two a day, if you can manage it, will make a big difference on your project. So anyways, till I get some help to take the hood and pull the motor, I think this is where we're going to stop for now. Alright guys, my apologies a little bit from here. It's going to be more of a voiceover with some pictures for this next bit. So the next step was to obviously get the hood off. I need some help to do that. So Keith and Harrison came over to help me with that and pull the motor. Dwayne was actually on vacation in Mexico, so, you know, really putting the hours in. But they gave me a hand. We got the hood off, and then we pulled the old motor and transmission as a unit. The old motor was an LQ4, and then behind that was actually an AR5 out of a Chevy Colorado. And that was made possible by a company called Fabbot Fabrication. They do a great job of making a simple, easy kit that allows you to put a very inexpensive Colorado 5-speed manual behind an LS motor. They're pretty durable, but I wanted to upgrade the transmission as well. The T56 is rated 700 foot-pounds. I'll never see that kind of power with it, but it's a good upgrade, and I felt it was something necessary to do for the car. So once we got the old engine and transmission out, we pulled the engine mounts for the LS swap kit from Holley, and as well as the pan. I think the pan part number is 302-2. Fits really well in a G-body. Got all that off, put it onto the new motor, and then we ended up putting the new motor in. We didn't bolt the transmission to the motor. We just put up the new Summit dual disc clutch and flywheel, as well as the bell housing. Now, looking back on it, I really wish that I would have put the transmission and engine together as one, but due to space and how high we could actually raise the boom, I wasn't quite sure what would be able to do there. So we ended up installing it from the bottom, and that turned out to be a really big job. And in fact, on a G-body, you really need to look for clearance on the tunnel. There's a couple places where the bolts on the cover that goes further up on the T56 actually hits the floor, and that caused some alignment issues. So it was actually quite a chore to get that in, but we did get it in. Then from there, I worked on the wiring, getting everything set up there, integrated the ECU that I'd be using, as well as making sure all my factory gauges worked inside the harness and everything like that, because it was set up kind of as a standalone unit, actually for marine use. But anyways, from there, got the radiator back into the car, the headers back into the car, and it's pretty much ready to go. I did start it. It's not on video. I just wanted to make sure that it, it had decent oil pressure and everything like that. I know everybody likes to see first starts on video, but I could only start it for like a couple seconds because I'm waiting on a drive shaft right now. Shaft Masters, who does my drive shaft work, they're down in Allen Park, and they have absolutely been slammed. They have no answer for why they're so busy, but they're not complaining. So they said it's going to be about a week or two for my prop shaft to be done. So I'm waiting on that. In the meantime, I wanted to get this video out to kind of show you guys what we've been doing. But rest assured, as soon as that prop shaft comes in, you get a first start video, some dyno tuning, and we're really excited to see where this project goes. Thanks for watching, guys.